Hello, I'm back, and this is April with Mastermind Daycare. And today I want to talk about self care for daycare providers. I had to take some time away for my own self care from YouTube for a while, but in the daycare, it's very important that daycare providers take time for themselves, take time to relax, and take time to unwind after a long day. And that can mean time to yourself to meditate, time. I like to wind down and take a nice warm shower after work, and just take some me time, whether it's going for a walk outside, just to wind down for the day. It's very important to wind down, and it's not only after a long day. You want to plan out your self care for the entire year as a daycare provider. So, we are professionals just like the school system, and the school system sends out their annual calendar. As a professional daycare provider, you want to create an annual calendar for yourself as well. If you have kiddos that are school age, this will be beneficial for you as a mother because they're off from school and you want to be off from school with them. So I used to work in corporate America, so I come from that side. When my child had off, I had to find backup care because, of course, I was not off on those days that the school was off. Now, as a daycare provider, I stopped working in corporate America and started my own daycare. So when my child is off from work, I want to be off from work with them. I want to spend quality time with my child so that we can bond. So when I first started, initially I was in the daycare watching the children, and my son was off from school, and I just didn't feel like that was ideal. He was upstairs, entertaining himself. I left lots of things for him to do. But as a mother, you want to have that quality time while your kids are young. So I took time the following year and marked it in my schedule. I toured different daycares as well, and many of the well known daycares take time off with the school system. And I said, that is what I'm going to start doing as well. So when I do my annual calendar, I look at the dates for the whole year, the dates, the annual holidays that are in our calendar, and I look at the days that the school is off as well. So you can go to your county's public school systems page and see what their calendar is for the year. And usually they make up their calendar towards the beginning of the year. And in January, they'll have it until maybe like um, through June, and you'll have to probably go back again when they decide to do it for the rest of the year as well. So I will create my calendar for the year, and I'll go off of the school systems page to incorporate all the days that my son is off too. That way, I'm not teaching the children and my son's, doing something else. That way we can spend our quality time bonding, and I can take time off from working. So we are talking about self-care. So self-care is also spending time with your family. You have to be able to balance the two. You have to balance your work along with your family life and, your personal life and your personal self-care. So doing an annual calendar is definitely one way for you to take time for yourself and kind of look ahead at those days during the year that you can take time for yourself and make families aware that you're going to be off. So it's very important that you look at that ahead of time and send that out to all of your families in the month of January so they have a heads up that you're taking that time off, and the school will be closed and you will not be open. And that's really ideal because as daycare providers, we are preparing children for kindergarten. not only are we preparing children for kindergarten, we're preparing the entire families for kindergarten. So they're not surprised when they start kindergarten and, it's spring break or it's winter break or, it's this holiday or that holiday and they don't have backup care. It's very important to have backup care for the families in the daycare. It takes a village to raise a child. And although as a daycare provider, I want to be part of that village, you also have to take time for yourself. So the self-care routine is ideal, and again, we're preparing children for kindergarten. We're preparing families for kindergarten. So when they start kindergarten, they'll already have that backup care in mind because they were used to that school calendar that you introduced when their child was 2 or 3 or maybe as an infant. So I copy the school's calendar all the way through the year and sometimes, even incorporate some of my own days off. And you can't feel bad about incorporating days off, closed days, holidays. This is self-care. And again, you're preparing families. And you can't really compete, and have you have to have an abundant mindset. So you don't want to say, oh, Sally down the street, that daycare is open. Well, that daycare has workers and employees that are burned out because they're starting at 6 a.m. and going until 6 p.m. And they don't get days off. They don't get those paid holidays or those paid breaks. So you really don't want to have that type of mindset, a mindset of lack. You want an abundant mindset, and with that comes taking time for yourself and taking time for your employees if you do have employees. So definitely incorporate days off. Your employees will thank you. If you don't have employees, you'll thank yourself because you deserve it. You deserve time off away from the children, time off to take care of doctor's appointments, hair appointments, anything you need to do because as a daycare provider, we are in the classroom 24/7, depending on what time you open and what time you close. So you definitely need time for yourself to take care of your own personal needs away from the children. And the families will appreciate you for it because in order to provide care, you need to be well and you need to be your best in order to ensure that the children are learning and playing and performing to their best abilities. So you have to be the best person that you can be. And in order to do that, you have to take time for yourself and take time to do the things that will make you happy and will uplift your spirit. And that's what I learned. And I guess I can say I learned the hard way because I didn't start out doing that. So it's something that you learn as you go on. And I'm here to tell you that it's definitely something important to incorporate into your schedule and your school calendar for the year. And it will amaze the parents, amaze licensing, the food program. When you show them, oh, hey, yes, this is my calendar. We're closed on this and that days, but we're open the rest. And they'll just, be amazed that you took the time to do all of that because it's not something that's really common in our industry in home daycares. And also in centers, everyone is open all the time, all day, every day. And self-care is not really something that is incorporated into the schedule. They might have someone that comes in for back rubs or massages or, muffins or Auntie Anne's pretzels. That's not self-care. It might be an appreciation for the employees, but it's not something that's going to uplift your spirits. You need time away from the building, time away from the classroom, time away from the children, and time to yourself. So incorporate self-care into your routine. find time to wind down after work, definitely look at the school calendar in your county and incorporate those days for yourself, for your kiddos. The families will be able to find backup care, and they will have to when their kids start school. And remember, do not compete with Sally up the street, because they're all burnt out over there. They're burnt out, they're closing down, and it's not the type of mindset that you want to have. You want the type of mindset where you know you're respected, parents appreciate you, and they understand that you need your time off. So incorporate time off into your schedule and definitely have a self-care routine. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.